Hey guys, so after 4 bad builds, after 4 unpleasant builds, I finally turned the 4th build into a pretty decent one, and I wanted to make a video about this, but it's not a full build guide video yet, because I'm still having pretty bad luck. Sometimes it takes like 10 maps to find a single Chaos Orb. Of course I still find other items, but the drop rate seems weird this league. I'm just not getting any good luck. So it's a bit difficult to get item upgrades, and this isn't an SSF, but still I'm having difficulty upgrading items, so it's gonna take a couple more days for me to finish this build, but I feel like I'm gonna keep this build until the end of the league because it's just not necessarily that strong, but it's just pleasant to play for me. And actually this build started as a Crit Bleed Slayer using Spectral Helix. Why Spectral Helix? Because Spectral Helix had just the highest scaling for damage, for bleed. And I couldn't use certain other skills that I wanted because I was using a staff. Enmity Divine staff. This is harbinger, non-updated staff. It's really outdated stuff. This stuff really needs to be updated because level 1 chance to bleed is just a waste. It just increases the mana cost and it barely gives anything, and you're still gonna replace that chance to bleed with a higher chance to bleed. And also you don't necessarily want, especially for Spectral Helix, you don't really want links in the staff because it's very difficult to get 3 or 4 green sockets, and I was also unable to link it, so I ended up using something else. But the reason why I hated Spectral Helix is that in certain cases it just, for me, does not feel good, and I think the only reason why people praise it, why people love it, is because it has really good damage scaling. Mechanically I don't like Spectral Helix because it takes a while. I don't want to talk too much about Spectral Helix, but I'm gonna show some clips where I was doing, I believe, Logbook or something, and there were monsters in the corridor, and the Spectral Helix just bounces between walls and doesn't really like fly towards like a normal Spectral throw. But Spectral Helix just has a lot of damage scaling, and with a slow hitting weapon for a bleed build, it just has the most damage. I could easily push over 1 million bleed DPS with Spectral Helix, while with other skills like Earthquake it would be much harder to stack 8 bleed stacks. It actually would be impossible on the build that I had. And I tried Earthquake, I tried Thunder, which actually felt better than Earthquake, I tried Earth Shatter, which felt the best but the lowest bleed damage. I tried Spectral Helix with faster projectiles, which felt decent, but it still was not pleasant. And I was not enjoying the build until I decided to turn build into non-crit Slayer bleed build, maybe using Ul's axe, until someone mentioned Jack the Axe. And Jack the Axe, I don't remember, I think it was buffed last league, was changed last league, and I reworked the build into Jack the Axe. Now another question, why Slayer? So the idea was to not go block. You know how the meta is to just don't get hit, either dodge or just true block and just don't get hit. So I did not want to do that. As you know, I don't like doing meta, so I am doing something else. I'm trying to actually mitigate the damage, get hit in the face, but just don't take much damage. So Slayer has interesting things. 10% reduced damage taken while leeching, and then I took the Timeless Jewel for this. 1% less damage taken for every 2% life recovery per second from leech. So basically I turned my leech into damage mitigation. So while leeching I get reduced damage and less damage. And because this is Slayer, I'm also increasing the leech recovery. So essentially I am getting up to 20% damage 20% less damage from leech. Another 10% reduced. Then I also got Fortify. I got currently 5 endurance charges. I get massive regen from the axe, up to 2000 life regen from the axe. Again, single target is only extra 400 regen. I still don't have the best way of generating endurance charges, but because this is Slayer, my endurance charges are also equal to my frenzy charges. And on top of that, I decided to go with the, I don't know how to pronounce this, this new helmet, which scales bleed DPS basically, and yeah, bleed DPS with the frenzy charges. And also, this is why I was using this this helmet when I was playing with the crit bleed, because I would crit and at close range, and I would get frenzy charges. So that was my frenzy charge generation. After I dropped the crit idea and went non-crit, I had to also get frenzy on hit body armor, which actually took a lot of effort getting, because it turns out it's pretty rare mod. I am generating frenzy whipped body armor now. The endurance charges I will be either anointing inexorable or maybe even taking it, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be enough. Maybe I will be getting the small cluster jewel to generate endurance charges. I will figure out, but right now I do feel pretty tanky. I don't have the highest amount of HP, but with all the mitigation that I have and big regen, it does feel pretty tanky. However, the damage is not the best. Now, if you look at the jacked axe, it actually, by the way, talks. If you don't know, it speaks. If you are like inactive for too long, it's gonna say something. Stop wasting my time, Exile. Or when you kill, it talks a lot. But jacked axe also grants level 20 Fast for Blood. Fast for Blood is an aura that reserves into life, 10% of your life. It grants 20% more damage with bleeding. Basically, if there are 5 bleeding enemies, you're gonna get 2000 life regen, which is massive for clear speed. Not for clear speed, but when clearing a bunch of enemies, it gives you a lot of tankiness. Especially if you can mitigate a lot of damage, then you basically take less damage and you have more time to regen. So the regen feels even stronger than if you did not have mitigation and just lost all the life in a single hit. So it does feel great, but against single target you don't get a big regen, only like 400 regen if there's only one target. So I still need to improve the single target. I still need to improve my items. My items aren't great. I'm still using like crappy boots that I made at the start of the league. I just bought the gloves recently with fierce damage over time multiplier. I still need to replace the belt for some damage. One of the rings just has nothing other than life and resistances. The amulet is kind of like a super budget. I still need to anoint the amulet. I still need to get a couple levels, some jewels. So there is still quite a lot of work to be done for this. By the way, I decided to use Bladestorm. Bladestorm just feels great. It moves forward, so it helps with the clear speed in the sand stance and in the blood stance. It does not move and it is stationary, but it does give a lot more bleed. So currently I am getting 104 more damage with bleeding while in blood stance, but only in sand stance I get 50% less damage with hits and ailments. So in sand stance it does like almost like 3 times less damage when in blood stance. But it seems to be enough for clear speed, and I was doing like up to tier 10 maps for now. I was actually using Hammerfiller gloves, which gave explosions for bleeds. I needed more damage, I needed more life, more resistances, and I do have Devastator. Devastator has 15% chance to explode enemies when they die from your attack hits. So they won't explode from bleeds, which is the issue, because mostly on bleed builds enemies die from bleeding, not from hits. However, this culling strike, you still need to hit them to do the culling, and when you hit them and do the culling, it's gonna proc the Devastator. So that adds more explosions than without the culling strike from Slayer. So this kind of synergizes pretty well, but it still does not feel as good as with the Hammerfiller gloves. So I may still refine this into maybe Endless Hunger. So in general this build feels very tanky. Even if I don't have the most amount of HP, I will be still actually I may get a bit more HP, because right now I'm level 85. I still need to take these passive nodes, I still need to get another jewel, and I still need to get, well, I guess a bit more HP. I'm gonna play this build for a couple more days, get to red tier maps, see how this feels, maybe finally do Conqueror. Actually, this build is the first time I did overlap this league. On the other builds I didn't have overlap done, did not have it unlocked, and didn't really care enough because the builds were not good enough. But this one is good enough, and I'm gonna be trying to improve this quite a bit more. Oh, by the way, I still need to get faster bleed boots. I can level up gems, get quality on gems, so we'll see how this goes in a couple more days. I'm gonna keep you updated. I will add path of building import code in the description if you want to see how. Actually, I don't know. This is not gonna be up to date, or maybe it will be. I don't really want to see my current DPS. because I know that it's not going to be great and I don't want to be too disappointed. So maybe I will include path of building in port code that I used to plan the build, not that the current build is. So for now, thank you for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.